All right, well, hello, everyone. My name is Emily Santana. I am a former Anne Ray intern from the School for Advanced Research, and I'm currently the curatorial assistant at the Harwood Museum of Art in Taos, New Mexico. Tonight, I'm speaking to you from the occupied indigenous land we call Taos, which is the unceded ancestral territories of the Pueblo, Diné, and Apache peoples. This is another segment of our SAR Artist Live series, which is an opportunity for viewers to peek behind the scenes and into the workspaces of very talented Indigenous artists. This season, we're focusing on the exhibition Grounded in Clay, the Spirit of Pueblo Pottery, which is an exhibition that was curated by the Native American communities that it represents. This project gives authority and voice to the Pueblo Pottery Collective, which is a group of over 60 individuals who come from 21 different tribal communities. And each individual selected and wrote about pieces from two significant Pueblo pottery collections in the United States. One is the Indian Arts Research Center at SAR, and the other is the Vilcek Foundation in New York City. So before we officially begin, I would like to note that this project is partially funded by the City of Santa Fe Arts and Culture Department and the 1% lodgers tax. And now we can get into the fun stuff. So we're joined by Lorraine Gala Lewis, who I'll introduce now. Lorraine is Laguna, Taos, and Hopi, and is a graduate of the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, and is a clay artist who loves to paint. She works closely with museums and art institutions throughout the country, viewing collections and research institutions, and is also an advocate for social and environmental issues concerning the protection of Pueblo natural lands and cultural resources. So we will be talking a little bit about Lorraine's experiences as a community curator for the Grounded in Clay exhibit, as well as a couple conversations about her relationship with clay, her artistic practice, and some of her current and future projects. So Lorraine, thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself in your own words and maybe share where you're joining us from?
Yes, sure. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I'm Lorraine Gala Lewis. My mother is from Laguna, Pueblo, and my late father comes from Taos, Pueblo, and is part Hopi. My stepfather comes from Nambe, Pueblo, where I was raised, and this is where I call home. So I've been involved with the arts most of my life, having grown up around the markets, particularly 8 Northern and the Santa Fe Indian Market. I've been a clay artist for over 45 years. I really love to paint and have worked in watercolors for a long time. I am a graduate of the Institute of American Indian Arts, both high school and college, and came full circle and am currently serving on the IAIA Foundation Board. So it's an honor to be involved in the arts and education. I have one daughter, her name is Leah Wopovi. She is also an artist, muralist. And I have 2 grandsons, Mateo, Moonlight Deer, and Jaguar. I live in Albuquerque, and I work for a nonprofit organization called the American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association. I'm the research and outreach specialist there, and I've been able to visit with many tribes across the country in person and on the phone. And now that things are opening up, we've been traveling within the past 2 years. So it's really interesting to see what's happening in Indian country, not only within the tribes, but within tribal arts. And I'm joining you from Albuquerque in my home, in my office.
That's great. That was a lovely introduction of yourself. So thank you for going so in depth. I guess our first question will sort of ground us in clay itself. So thinking back, do you remember what your first memory or experience was with clay?
Yes, it's interesting you're asking this question because I met with a few artists just a couple days ago at the MIAC, and they posed the same question. So I think one of my most memorable experiences, I was about 6 or 7 years old, and my mom had told me a story about a little clay oven that she once built, and it's a little Pueblo style oven. And she was even able to, she was older, so she was able to make a little fire inside that little oven, and the smoke went out of the little hole. And so I was really intrigued by that story. And so I went out into the yard and I just started making these little adobes. And I just found it really fascinating working with clay. I loved the feel of it, the smell of the earth. It was just really nice and soothing. So when I started making my own adobes, I made so many. I had enough for not only a little orno, I also created some little houses as well. But I just always loved mixing clay and working with it, and working with my hands. It's very organic, and it's also really healing.
I could definitely see that. So it sounds like you've been sort of working with and in the realm of clay for a while. Was there a time that you officially decided, I want to be a potter? And what did that look like?
I did. When we moved to Nambe Pueblo, of course, the land was all around us. The water was right there. I just loved being, near the water, and then just grabbing clay by the handfuls and just making things with them. I was very young, but it was actually in elementary and junior high. I loved the art classes that I took part in and always excelled at creating. It was when I was in high school, I really enjoyed being in an actual studio, working with various types of clays, both traditional and contemporary. We had access to the tools, the equipment, to exceptional teachers and peers. We were able to share ideas and explore outside the box. There was really um, a lot of encouragement about just creating however you wanted to create. And I love that. So one thing I didn't really have an interest in learning or was learning how to throw on a wheel. So I never really learned to throw clay on a wheel. I just thought it felt a little too weird, but I always admired my peers who could, and the amazing things that they created. But it was probably in high school is when I really gravitated toward working with clay.
So you mentioned that you had some pretty incredible teachers at that time. And I've read that you were mentored by notable Pueblo clay artists who were working both traditionally and a bit more contemporarily. Could you maybe name a couple of those artists or sort of describe what you picked up from them style-wise?
Absolutely. So in high school, most of my works were contemporary, using contemporary clays and glazes and just different techniques. I was experimenting and learning, and also learning construction techniques like slab building and various coiling methods. I was also learning about other cultures as well, and that fascinated me. I really loved the art of raku pottery, and I actually dabbled in that and just really enjoyed those techniques. They're very old techniques. But at IAIA, we always had some of the best instructors, and that was really beneficial. One of my instructors was Ralph Partington, and he was non-native. He was a brilliant clay artist and teacher, and his works were known regionally, nationally, and internationally. And he was just always there to assist us. And if any questions we had, he was there to help us. I absolutely love that. Another uh, instructor was Adelie Lolama, and she's a Hopi artist. She was really amazing. She actually learned techniques with other cultures from around the world, and I thought that was really fascinating. She was really great at creating and also encouraging us to explore other cultures. She was she had a lot in common with me because I had that same interest. At the time, she was exploring Asian and European and other indigenous clay techniques and designs. So she brought so much to the school and openly shared that knowledge with me, which I really appreciated. And then another instructor was Manuelita Lovato from Kiwa Pueblo. And she was wonderful at teaching us the traditional techniques in building and firing and harvesting clay. So I thought that was, it was such great information that I held on to, and I really gravitated toward traditional clay during my college years. Nathan Begay was actually a longtime mentor and a friend. He was also a student at the time when I was going to school there, but he's a renowned Hopi potter, and that was his livelihood. He just worked with clay continuously. I loved working with him. He taught me the traditional Hopi pottery techniques of painting and designing and creating and firing and everything. He was just really incredible and so generous with his knowledge. I also mentioned Clarence Cruz from Okewenge. I call him my Micaceous clay sensei. I love working with with him any chance I can get. We spend quite a bit of time harvesting clay, processing, building, and firing in our traditional Pueblo ways. I love it, and I'm so grateful to my instructors, for all they have taught me.
That's so beautiful. I also think it's really incredible that you can point to such specifics when, I mean, your time in college and high school was not just yesterday. So it's great that you've really been able to hold on to so much of what you learned with each of them. I guess in thinking about some of those global and local and Pueblo techniques and styles, what's inspired you through the years in terms of like what sort of given life to your own pottery practice?
I think, really being raised in New Mexico, being close to all the pueblos and seeing the works of some of these amazing potters, that's always been my inspiration. We've always been encouraged to take on our traditional techniques, learn as much as we can so we can pass these things down to the next generation. And I absolutely love that. That was very inspiring for me. Being so close to ancestral places, also like Bandelier, Puye Cliffs, Mesa Verde, Chaco Canyon, that is our connection to our ancestors. Those places are our connections. And I delved into a particular time period, just going back to about 850 to 1200 AD. I was just really inspired by these early art forms, and that led me to rediscovering our ancestral lands. So these visits really enhanced my creativity. The stories of our early paintings and our petroglyphs and rock carvings, they helped me pay closer attention to detail. There was this continuous cycle of creating. The work is actually a true reflection of ourselves, what was felt by that individual at that time in the environment. I think that there was this evolution of shape, form, and design, and this was reflected in the changes of lifestyles with our ancestors. So it's just really, I really admire everything that they've put into the pottery, and it's just, I've learned so much over the years, so I just really credit them for and thank them daily for giving me these gifts.
I know you also wanted to draw attention to some of those ancestral Pueblo potters in the Grounded in Clay exhibition, and you curated 2 works for the exhibition, both of which were ancestral Pueblo pottery designs. Would you like to read from one of your essays to begin, or maybe talk about how you made those selections? Oh, we might have had a technical difficulty. Can you hear me? All right, I'll give us a couple more seconds. Hopefully our internet connection
Yes, I can
can.
actually do a reading for one of them.
Sorry, I'm afraid there might be a bit of a lag. So whenever you're ready and whenever you hear
Emily,
that,
can you hear me okay? I can.
I do think we have an
Stabilize.
lag. Hopefully it's stabilized.
Yes. Okay, do I sound like I'm lagging to you?
I'm assuming we're lagging, so I'm going to go ahead and
Emily?
stop talking and let
Oh,
you
no.
start reading one of your essays.
Okay, I need to open the book. So I have the book in front of me. I haven't had a chance to, if I can just get this open into the page, and then I'll be happy to read that to you. Let me see if I can find the piece that I contributed to. Okay, let's see. Just bear with me 1 second while I find it. I'll read the shorter version. I wrote a story about one and a poem about another. So I'll read the poem to you. Can you hear me okay, Emily? I'm thinking maybe it's my internet connection.
I can hear you. I think we both have bad internet, and it's just we're just gonna have to keep talking a little bit over one another to finish this out. But I look forward to listening to your piece.
Okay, to get the message across. Okay. I'm still looking for it in the book. There's so many pieces that were selected, and forgive me, I haven't had a chance. Oh, there it is, to look through the book. Okay, I found it. So I actually selected two pieces of pottery. I was caught between a Mesa Verde mug that goes back to 1150 to 1300 and a Mesa Verde ladle that goes back to 1050 to 1300. So I couldn't decide between the two. So they let me talk about both items. So I thought that was really wonderful. So I chose this ladle. I thought it was just really beautiful the way it was painted. And I titled the work, The Journey of a Little Clay Ladle. So it's a little story and it's a little poem that I wrote. And it goes like this. I am here for a reason. You sought me out, but it is I who found you. My journey over the years is to show you who I am. I am your family, your roots, your ties to the universe, your ties to the community, your ties to tradition, our connection to the plants and animals. Use me to tell people about me and what I represent, how I was made, what I was made of, when I was made, why I was made. The importance of my existence. Serving water and food to sustain our livelihood. I've seen our resilience, our times of abundance, our times of shortage. I am strong. I have a spirit. I am alive. Talk to me, take care of me, protect me, honor and respect me. I'll return to the earth where I came from. I've served my purpose. Now you serve yours and tell people about me. Emily, I could reread that if you need.
Oh, no, I heard it. That came through really beautifully. Thank you for reading that section. Could you maybe
Sure.
talk through how you decided on those two selections? I know you said it was hard to choose just one, and they let you choose the pair. So yeah, did those two just jump out at you while you were at SAR, or how did you come upon them?
Yes. Yeah, when I saw them, well, I was coming through the collection, and what struck me was the black on white. And I think that just really, looking at the designs, I took notice in them because of the way they were drawn out or the way they were painted out onto the pieces of pottery. Um, there's certain types of designs that have patterns in them, and these two designs really struck me. Just the way they were painted, um, just the way they were built, and the purpose of why they were built. They're both utilitarian vessels. They're both life-sustaining. Well, all our pottery is, but to me, this was like an everyday piece. And the ladle is we used for water, we used for liquids. The mug, I only could imagine what the water tasted like in both. And so there was my connection. And I just stared at these pieces and I thought, God, these are amazing, because they were held daily by an ancestor and they were used for various purposes.
Yeah, I personally love that pairing, especially the mug. It feels so contemporary in a way that's incredibly surprising, given that it was based in, Mesa Verde. So I really enjoyed looking at those pieces that you selected and reading about them. I'm wondering if you have visited the Grounded in Clay exhibition, and if so, what that experience was like.
Actually, I just wanted to comment again on the designs going back because how things evolved, and you had mentioned contemporary. They do almost have this contemporary look to them, and that just shows you, the changes over time because our designs became increasingly sophisticated throughout. Gosh, there was this expression, our earliest potters, they captured those moments, and they were just ahead of their time with design elements. And I think that's why I gravitate toward these pieces. It's just truly amazing. And then I'm sorry, your other question was,
Oh, no, I'm
have
glad
I
you dove back into the designs. I was just wondering if you got to visit the exhibition at Mayak yet, and if so, what it was like finally seeing all of these hundreds of pieces of pottery, all really beautiful in their own right, come together in one space.
I actually haven't seen the exhibit yet, and there's a reason for that. My daughter was having a mural opening the same night as the Grounded in Clay opening. So I wasn't able to actually view the collection yet, but I was at the Mayak a few days ago working on the Painted Reflections project, and I was able to see a glimpse of it. And it's just stunning. So this weekend, I'm carving out time so I could see it in person, just take my time going through it. But the book is beautiful. The Grounded in Clay, the Spirit of Pueblo Pottery. It came out in a hardback, and it's just an amazing book. And I'm going to be there probably a full day just taking in the exhibit. So I'm excited to see it this weekend.
That's so great. I know it'll also be up through May of 2023 at Mayak. So you have plenty of time to spend full days there. I was wondering, just to shift gears a little bit.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I have to see it soon.
That's amazing. Yeah, so to shift gears a little bit, I was hoping you might be able to speak about your role on the IAI Foundation Board of Directors. You mentioned that in your introduction, that you're currently serving on that board, and I'm curious what that role looks like and what it's been like for you.
Sure. First of all, I have to say it's an honor to serve. I've been on the board for a little over 5 years now, but the IIA Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and that was founded in 2010 to expand IAI's capacity to raise critically needed funds to help empower our students to succeed. We raise monies for student scholarships. The scholarships are needed by more than 80% of our students to help them pursue their studies. So every August, IAI hosts one of the biggest galas in Santa Fe, and it's the live auction. And so one of our committees is the art auction committee. And so what we do is we work on artwork for the silent and live auctions. So we pursue donations from alumni artists, people that have walked through the doors of IAIA. What we really want to do is showcase these pieces and tell a story about the history of the school. And so it's just really an amazing event. It's a lot of work. We just get right into we delve into the project. And it takes a whole year to put this together. So we have a great board, trustees, foundation, art committees. Everybody comes together, alum, students, the whole IAIA family gets together and puts this event on. We recently had our 2022 live gala, and we raised very close to $1 million towards scholarships. So that was just an incredible event. The excitement in the room was just amazing, seeing the passion for IAIA. So I think it's really a wonderful way of giving back. I've come full circle from high school, college, and then now on the board, and just am very passionate about higher education.
Well, that's really great that you're able to give your time back to the school that, gave you so much of like the grounding for your current pottery practice. So that's really great to hear. I know, so I'm sort of also curious what you're currently working on. And I know just in the past couple of weeks, Indian market wrapped up. So I think that probably was one of the main projects you were glad to have off your plate for a little while. But yeah, maybe you could talk a little bit about what you're looking forward to for the future, or if you have any big pottery plans in the coming months.
Yes. So right now I'm working with the MIAC on the painted reflections. It's going to be a gallery guide. So there was input from several artists that they selected. So we've been meeting on that project. I'm also going to be working with Millicent Rogers in October, the museum in Taos, and it's going to be a pottery exhibit that's going to be on loan for about half a year. And we're going to talk about design elements. So I'm very excited about that because there's other artists that are indigenous from various cultures, and we're going to all come together and put together a talk as well as just exhibiting our work there. So I'm very excited about that. And during COVID, I was actually selected as one of the recipients for the First Peoples Fund Jennifer Easton Award. And that was very exciting. But during COVID, we weren't able to make too much happen as far as travel or research or anything like that. So I have money set aside so I can go visit some of these pieces that have gone back east that I would have always been wanting to see, which are the Chaco vessels. And so I would love to visit some of the museums, look at their collections, and document some of these pieces and possibly recreate some of these pieces. So I'm excited about that. There's just a lot of projects in the works. I recently I contributed to a catalog for the DeYoung University in San Francisco about a Members pottery piece. The Pottery Collective actually reached out to me to see if I would take part in this project, and I thought that was an honor. So I was able to look at this pottery piece, study it, and write about it, and I thought that was really a wonderful thing to do. And then, of course, working on this SAR grounded in clay, that was just an amazing project. And I just look forward to helping SAR as much as I can, get the word out about what you all do. It's just wonderful things. So there's a lot of other things happening, but I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Well, I didn't want to take up too much of your time. It sounds like you hit the ground running after Indian Market and didn't give yourself much downtime afterwards. But
Right.
like very exciting things. Especially, I can't wait to check out your Millicent Rogers presentation. I live up in Taos, so I will definitely be there.
Wonderful.
Yeah, just share the dates whenever is possible. And I guess we have about reached our half-hour mark, so I don't want to, extend past that. But yeah, I just want to offer up a little bit of time in case you have any last thoughts or ideas or projects you'd like to share this evening.
I think just sharing what's happening out there in the world, with our natural and cultural resources. It's so important to protect these. I recently heard that Bandelier got vandalized, and that just really made me sad. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, we open up these places to people to visit, and we, as stewards of the land, we need to protect these places. We really need to watch over them and make sure that they aren't damaged, or they aren't, people just don't roam freely. So, that's always been my take on, on my work. I've always really have been cautious and tell people, if you come across pieces, that are ancestral pieces, don't sell them. That's a big thing that's happening on the Black market. So I talk about that, don't sell our ancestors, and we need to protect and preserve these pieces. And so these are our teachings. We go to museums or we go to collections and we see these pieces, we visit them, we respect them. And I just encourage people to learn from these older pieces, because we have places that we can go visit. Like I do a lot of my research at the Maxwell Museum, and they allow Pueblo people to come in and study our pottery. So I really encourage other artists, if you're not a potter, you're a painter or a designer, come see these collections. They're amazing, and they're open to us. Take advantage of that and just learn from them. So that's just something, those are some thoughts and ideas that I wanted to share.
I love that you bring up all of those different points. I hadn't heard about the Bandelier vandalism, and I think that blows my mind. It's such a sacred and beautiful and touching place, and that is a big shame, but it also gives us an opportunity to talk about, why these places are so important and why we need to be spending resources to protect them. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for making time and space for this conversation. For those watching, just a reminder that Grounded in Clay, the Spirit of Pueblo Pottery, will be on view at the Museum of Indian Arts and Culture in Santa Fe through May of 2023. And after that, it will travel nationally. And you'll be able to see those two Mesa Verde pieces that Lorraine curated for the show. And they're really stunning. I would highly recommend going and checking them out. Thank you again, Lorraine. And yes, everybody stay tuned for the rest of the SCR Artist Live series this year.
Thank you. Tawa e, Kunta.